Welcome to another video of my new Phatmoto bike. As you know from my previous two videos, I've been having issues with this bike. And the main problem is with the motor and the carburetor. I'm having issues trying to have the motor idle, and at the same time when I run it, I do not go beyond 14 miles per hour. It doesn't give me that full speed. Now for this bike that has the 44T sprocket on the back, I'm supposed to be doing around 30 miles per hour. So let's just talk about where I'm at right now with this bike. I improved a lot, and the way I did it is by really listening to the commentary on my videos that you guys posted. Some of you said it's a choke problem, some of you said it's a filter, spark plugs, the regulator and the carburetor, the governor, so many things. Anyway, at the end of the day, since I'm unexperienced with the small engines, in fact I only have a blower that I bought last year in my 0-ton mower, which has a 23 horsepower motor, but they haven't failed, so I had no need to learn about them. But this bike offered me the opportunity to learn, and what I done was do some research and went to YouTube and access, first of all, learn about carburetors, and secondly about small motors. So I came out across this video from a YouTuber. His channel is Smarter Every Day, and he built a see-through carburetor in which you can see the function of the carburetor as he hooks it up to the motor. It's pretty incredible, and I learned a lot of things from it. I recommend you go watch it. And what happens is this small carburetors here consists of two parts, the bottom and the top part. On the bottom part, you have the bowl, which is the reservoir for the gas. Gas comes in, it's equipped with a float, which is basically the mechanism to stop and fill that bowl with gasoline. And somewhere in there, I'm not quite sure, remember if it's in between the float or in there in the center of the or that bottom portion has the jet, which has a small orifice at the center, which is where the gasoline goes on, onto the top portion of the carburetor. And that's basically the function of the bottom bowl. Now on the top portion is where the choke, the venturi, and the throttle regulator are located. And therefore the venturi is like a small piece with sort of like a tunnel shape with two funnels shaped at each end. So it's big on the one side, has a small narrow tunnel, and ends up with a big funnel type shape on the other side. So therefore, so in the middle is that where the jet comes in with the injection of the fuel. Now the choke, I always thought for some reason the choke was to allow more fuel on the carburetor. For some reason, I thought that's what it was. But come to find out that the choke is just control of air. It's basically a gate, a butterfly in the top portion of the carburetor that allows a certain amount of air depending on the position of that butterfly. You can have it closed, partially open, full open. Now the venturi, right, like I said, is a small channel where the injection comes in of the fuel and where the air coming in from the outside through the choke travels. And then on the other end, you have the regulator, which is another gate, another butterfly, which opens and closes. And according to how much fuel you want to allow it to go into the engine, that's the control. So you have to play with all of these pieces there for you to adjust your carburetor. Now, some of you said that adjusting this type of carburetor is not possible. Well, to me it is, because at least you cannot adjust the fuel. Technically you may, if you change the jet, right? Bigger orifice in the center, you can do that. But also you can do what they choke. If you control the air coming in, then you can control the fuel mix, which you can control the combustion, in essence, right? And also, if you're going to live in different time zones, west, east, south, north, you'll need to adjust the carburetor, because the temperatures of wherever you reside at can make a difference on a carburetor. I believe these carburetors can adjust for California. So if you're on the east side now, it's a different type of temperatures. So therefore, you'll need to play with them and adjust them accordingly. Anyway, but after all that, I was always questioning, okay, so how does the initial startup of the motor happens? Okay, what pushes that fuel mix into the motor? Well, that's what the pull cord here is for. Every time you pull in this cord, there's a flywheel inside, you spin it, and what you are basically doing is you are sort of making the motor work manually by pulling this cord. And therefore, when you do that, the injection of the fuel happens into the motor, and the combustion happens, making that spark plug fire. The moment you pull in this cord, you're creating suction, combustion, and exhaustion, right? Exhausting that air out from the combustion. So that initial suction is what drives the fuel mix into the motor, and therefore the whole process, eventually when that spark plug, fires, moves that piston and starts that, rotation with that motor, that performance. And as you're pulling it, that's what practically happens. You're manually doing it, and that's how this motor gets to start, which is fascinating. So at the end of the day, this helped me very much to understand, how do these things work, so that way I can adjust it properly. So right now, where I am with this is that at least I still have some troubles trying to turn it on. I guess depending on the temperature. But usually within my process right now is like within 5 pulls, I think I'm getting it on. And then I'm able to idle. And what I've done is I go full choke first, try 3 pulls. If with 3 pulls doesn't go on, then shut it off, and then turn it like 1/8, leave it 1/8 open on the choke. And then I pull it about twice and it goes right on. Now if I shut it down, if I shut the choke down, then typically it shuts down. But what I'm doing right now is just leave the choke at least 1/8 open. And I guess for me, that's what's working very well right now, because if I run it with the choke off, it shuts down. But if I leave it just a little bit open, 1/8, like I said, I get the performance that I'm looking for. Now I'm getting speeds, I'm not sure. We're gonna test it today when I give you a video. Hopefully you can see the miles per hour, and you can see that I made good progress. Anyway, I thought you might like to know that, where I am with this bike, what I learned. Some of you probably most likely know this. Now, I didn't. For those that don't know, this might be a good information for you, and use it. And go see this guy, Smarter Every Day. He has a good video there as to how the carburetors work. Now, as far as my governor is concerned, it came with a solid piece of wire from the linkage here to the governor, and I took that off. So I came out across this other guy. His YouTube channel is Engine Unknown, and instead of adding a solid wire, he adds a bigger, more resistive spring. And he gives a reason, and he says that if you add just a solid wire, and the purpose is to hold that governor, you know, steady, not stretching, so that way you get more speed, apparently more torque, more speed at the end, I guess. You might rev the engine too much, up to 6,000 revs per minute, he said, or something like that. You need to keep it below there, because I believe there's probability of these motors to blow up if you continue running the motor for long periods of time, 10-15 minutes at full speed. You might blow it up. So to prevent that, he added a spring with lots of resistance to make that governor not to, you know, develop at its fullest, sort of like a restricted to at least 5,000 RPM. At least you're getting some miles, some more mileage per hour with this idea that he's doing. So I opted to do his, and I added a spring here, much bigger one, and I'm doing pretty good with it so far. Now I don't know what my real RPMs are so far. I don't have a meter for that. I'll probably purchase one of those here soon and test it. But so far for me, I am getting good results. So where I am right now, I can turn the bike on. It takes me a little bit sometimes. Maybe it's because I haven't really finished with adjustment. But as you're going to see right now, I haven't started this bike since yesterday. Today is about 50 degrees, I think it is. And I will try it. And we'll give you we're gonna take a lap. And hopefully you can see the miles per hour here on my meter. So that way you can see where I am with it. All right? So let's just do that. So what I do is, right? Full choke. I'm gonna try like 2 or 3 times. If it doesn't go, I'm gonna come back on off. Not off, I'm gonna go down to 1/8 open. And then try it again and see if we can turn them on. Full choke, pump on. Yeah, that's what I shut off. And then I'm gonna have it 1/8 open. Talking about the choke. This time I'm getting a nice and smooth sound on the engine. It's not searching, dropping, going higher, nothing. As you can hear it. Looking pretty good. Now once it's warmed up, I don't have to have the choke on. With the choke off, I start it and it starts right up. Now let me turn the choke off. If you can hear it, it sort of drops down a little bit. So right now, the only way I'm getting good speed, the speed I'm supposed to get, at least if I hit on the throttle gradually, I'm getting that speed gradually. And it's working for me with the choke at least 1/8 open. I guess this engine needs a little bit more air It might be that because I believe this bike is supposed to come specific with the recommendation is to turn the choke on if you're having issues turning it on, but then you must shut the choke off. And I guess is the air is fixed in there, even with the choke off, to allow certain kind of air through. Maybe the valve on the, here on the carburetor is not set at that specific opening when the valve is closed, and that's why I'm having issues. But if that's why I open it 1/8, then I get sufficient air in there, and it's working for me. Now, as far as speed, yes, I'm getting it's better. The only thing I noticed is that when you first go on and rev up, it's kind of rough, you know, the sound, until you have to pedal assisted. I'm not sure if this is normal for this bike. I think it is. I believe the website says something like that. You have to pedal assisted. And then starts a little bit rough, but once it's getting that speed, it sort of settles down into that nice, smooth sound of the engine, you know, effortless, and the speed develops. But once you get in that comfort, I believe I heard one biker said that I believe they call it force stroking. I believe it is when it first sort of sounds rough, like it needs assistance. And I give it assistance by pedaling. And once I pedal, I help the bike, and then it sort of settles into a nice, smooth transition of the engine, and it gives me that speed that I want, and that so far has been working for me. So I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, so let's turn it on again, just to see here. I got everything on. Let's see. As you can see, it's working great. This time I had the choke off. I just got the choke off about 1/8. The gate open. And I'm gonna ride it like that. So I'll give you a few demonstrations here. I'm gonna take a lap so you can see. Hopefully this goes well. Check this out. Okay, so there you have it. You will just witness as to the upgrade I made already. I'm talking about upgrade really in speed and idling of the motor and all the issues I was having. So I was able to hit about 29, 28 miles per hour, and that's going up the slope, which is a pretty long slope, and it's about 5 degrees, I guess. So it did pretty good. I have yet to try it on a long straightaway to see if it develops 32, 34 miles per hour, he claims. I'm pretty sure it will, because hey, if it does hit at 29 miles per hour, at least 26 on the straightaway, short straightaways that I have here, flat, then I think I'm getting there. Now, I noticed I've just run it at with the choke at 116 open. If I do 1.8 open on the choke, I get more kick, more torque, I guess, and it's just a little bit faster. So I played with this that way, and it works for me so far. So my next videos will be I'll have a trail here around my neighborhood, and that the purpose of buying this bike is so that I can enjoy this bike and the trails I have around here. And I'm gonna take some video of that so you can see the performance of this bike on those trails, dirt trails, grass trails, outdoor trails, you know, all that kind of thing. So I'll be glad to show you my bike, myself, and my trails around my neighborhood, so that way you can all experience how efficient these bikes and how good they are. So far so good. I'm liking it. I'm pretty happy, and I hope you learned something from this video. And until the next time, and I think right after the next trail videos or at some point, I'm gonna show you the upgrades I'm doing on the bike. I've done some things already, and I'm gonna share those with you, so maybe this works for you, something you might want to do on your own bike. All right, so thank you. Until next time.